Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and I'm just gonna say it out loud. I've been MIA for the past 2 weeks because I got COVID. You heard me right. Yes, I was COVID positive. I was having second thoughts if I should vlog about it because I noticed that people who get COVID are treated like a pariah. Parang, oh my God, nagka-COVID siya. But I realized that most of the stuff that helped me, like isolation, how I planned everything, like how my mom would serve me food, all based on the COVID stories that I found on the internet. To be honest, most of them were from TikTok and YouTube as well, some Facebook posts. So I figured I should pay it forward. I hope you learn a thing or two from this video. I'm gonna share everything, how it happened, what were my symptoms, pieces of advice, lessons learned. Let's get started in 3, 2, 1. So let's start with how it happened. I found out that someone I was in contact with tested positive. I did not have any symptoms, 0 symptoms, so I wasn't that worried. I was like, okay, no sore throat, no nothing, I'm sure I'm fine. But still, I isolated myself the moment I got the news. And in the afternoon, I finally got my hands on an antigen test. At first, it just showed 1 line, so I was like, thank God, negative ako. But after like 30 seconds, I was like, oh my gosh, I see a second line. Oh my gosh, like parang alam mo yung suspense na music, alam mo yung dun 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 dun. As I waited, the second line got clearer and clearer, and I could no longer deny that I was COVID positive. At first, medyo in denial ako because wala akong symptoms eh. But you know what? I'm not gonna question the antigen test. Siguro if negative pa, I would still isolate myself. But the fact that it was positive, I decided to accept that fact, and I prepared myself mentally because tuloy-tuloy na yung quarantine ko, tuloy-tuloy na yung isolation ko. So, I prepared myself mentally na okay, for the next 2 weeks, dito lang ako sa room ko. So, let's talk about my isolation. If you are COVID positive but you don't have any symptoms, I was told that you can stay at home. So, I quarantined myself here in the master's bedroom where I have my own bathroom kasi advisable to have your own bathroom during your quarantine. To be honest, quarantine was not that hard for me because that's basically my life when I was still a flight attendant. I could stay in my room and not go out for 24 hours, 48 hours. I love room service. So technically, parang may room service na lang din ako. As long as my Wi-Fi, I'm good. Like, that's all I need, Wi-Fi. During my isolation, I was very conscious with what I was eating. I didn't want to exercise because based on the videos that I watched, you shouldn't exercise when you have COVID. So I was very conscious with my food because again, I can't exercise. I was in bed the whole day. Para bang ang schedule ko the whole day was coffee, Netflix, phone, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, work on my website. So lahat ng ginagawa ko nasa phone lang or nasa laptop. So wala talaga akong activity at all. So I was very careful not to overeat because I want to maintain my current weight. I'm super proud of my weight loss. It's not a small thing for me. Pinaghirapan ko talaga to. And the funny thing is, I actually lost more weight during my quarantine. I lost about 5-6 pounds. Hindi ko sinasadya, hindi ko ginugutom sarili ko. So medyo good news yon. Bad news though is lahat na ng clothes ko maluwag. Wow, yabang. So yung my meals, they were served the same way meals are served in hotels or quarantine facilities. I told my mom to put a chair right outside my bedroom door. So, dun nilalagay yung food ko. For the first few days, we were using paper plates, plastic cutlery. I didn't want my mom to wash anything that I used. And then later on, I told her to give me my own sponge, to give me my own dishwashing liquid. So, anong nangyari, may sarili na akong plate. For example, lunchtime na, ilalagay ko yung plate ko sa labas. Tapos, bibigyan niya ako ng food. That's how we did it. The first 2 days of my quarantine, easy peasy lemon squeezy. And on the third day, oh my gosh, on the third day. So, again, first 2 days, no symptoms. I was like, oh my gosh, ito pala ang asymptomatic. But on the third day, oh my God, I woke up with this really bad headache, muscle pain all over, and stuffy nose. The muscle pain felt like, alam mo yung feeling yung after vaccination na talagang super sore yung arm. Imagine that, pero all over. Diba? You can't even lift your arm. That's how I felt, like every movement was painful. Parang, ano yun? Ano yun? I slept almost the entire day. I guess my body needed it. I just felt tired. I felt exhausted and I was super cold. The pajamas that I was wearing, plus super thick the comforter, not enough. I was freezing cold. So you know, winter 101, it's better to wear layers of clothes than just one thick jacket. So the layers of clothes worked for me. Later on, like a few hours after, pinapawisan na ako. Fourth day was pretty much the same as the third day. Stuffy nose, headache, muscle pain. But this time, I was coughing na. Every time I coughed, just phlegm, 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 phlegm. On the fifth day, I was feeling better, but the cough was still there. So was the phlegm. So the cough went on for days. I didn't have any other symptom except the cough. I felt fine, I was a-okay, but I was still coughing. If you are wondering if I was able to taste or smell my food, yes, I did not lose my sense of taste, my sense of smell ever since I tested positive. Like the whole time, nalalasahan ko yung food ko, naaamoy ko yung food ko. I was told na 7 days after testing positive, you can take an antigen test. May possibility na negative ka na. Honestly, I felt fine. So I was like, why not test myself? Maybe it's no longer in my system. But unfortunately, I was still COVID positive. So I was still in isolation up to 10 days. Day 11, nag-test ako thinking na for sure, negative na to. But then guess what? Still, I was COVID positive. And it was frustrating because I felt fine. I can't believe the COVID positive pa rin ako. So, I was still in isolation for the next few days. And on day 15, finally, negative na ako. So let's talk about the medication that I took. Honestly, I didn't take a lot. So the first 2 days, of course, I didn't take any medication because wala naman akong symptoms. But then on the third day, I started taking BIOFLU. So I was taking that every 4 hours, 4 times a day. BEROCCA. And super helpful ng, I'm not sure how to say it, LIANHUA. I'm not sure how to say it, but this one was very helpful. Yun ang medication ko nung last 7 days of COVID. Honestly, when I was taking this, I felt like my cough was getting better and better. Parang the day after, uy, less na yung cough ko, less na yung phlegm. So that's it. BEROCCA, BIOFLU, and this one. Lessons learned. To put it bluntly, I realized na every time you leave the house, it's a risk. So if we can, only if we can, siguro lessen the times na aalis ka ng bahay. If you can do something online, you know, do it online na lang. But if you can't, I totally understand because ako rin, ang dami ko rin kailangan gawin. Kailangan ko tagal lumabas ng house. But what I do these days is if pwede kong isahin lahat, like I'll do everything on a Tuesday. But then again, pag na-expose ka talaga to someone na infected na, I don't know if ang nakuha ko omicron or ano, but super bilis talaga. Like ako, super maingat ako, triple mask. Kung pwede, paliguan ko sarili ko ng alcohol every time I touch something. Ako talaga yung lahat sila tinutukso ako na OA ako, but still, I got it. So, I think yun yung frustrating part kasi I was really careful. Buti sana if nag-party ako, I have no one else to blame but myself. But the thing is, ang ginawa ko, errands, groceries. So, I think yun yung frustrating na part kasi I was super careful, but still, nakuha ko siya. So that's why I'm saying na, you know, it's a risk. Every time you go out, it's a risk. Sad to say. Is it safe to meet up with friends, family? You know, you're thinking na, ay hindi, maingat naman si ganito, maingat naman si ganito. To be honest, I don't think so. Even if you take an antigen test before you guys meet up, it doesn't guarantee na you're really COVID-free eh. You know why? And I'll share this with you because this is a true story. So I know someone na nag-antigen test, negative. And then nag-antigen test ulit, nung may symptoms na siya, still negative. And then 6 days after, dun pa sila nag-positive. So imagine all the people they met up with nung nag-negative sila. Kasi akala nila negative sila eh. So, okay, I'm COVID-free, I can meet up with other people. You also can't rely on what you're feeling na, oh, you know what, I feel fine, I'm okay. Like for example ako, if hindi ako sinabihan na nag-positive yung kakilala ko, I would never take the test kasi feeling ko okay lang ako. No symptoms ako for the first 2 days eh. So if I met up with friends that time, my gosh, hindi ko alam na nahawa ko na pala sila. Syempre, hindi ko rin naman sinasadya because, you know, I'm okay. So if you are gonna ask me, it's not advisable talaga. But then again, I also understand that it can be lonely. Syempre, nakakamiss talaga yung friends, nakakamiss yung relatives, nakakamiss ang family. So, hindi talaga maiiwasan. Siguro accept the fact na lang talaga na every time you go out, every time you leave the house, it's a risk. Nakakakaba talaga these days, especially with this news. So I'm back to washing my groceries, like for example, bag of chips, diba? Syempre dinadala natin yan sa bedroom. Hindi natin alam if humawak, may COVID or what. Nakaka-frening talaga. So I'm back to washing my groceries. But the good thing is, COVID is not as fatal compared to how it was last year. But still, our bodies are different and we shouldn't get complacent. Some people say kasi na, oh, it's fine, it's just like common colds, you'll be fine, don't be too paranoid. But you don't know that eh. You can't tell someone na, oh, don't be scared of COVID, you'll be fine. Because you really don't know how their bodies are gonna react in case they do get COVID. Syempre, iba-iba tayo ng katawan, iba-iba tayo ng complications, so you really can't, you know, assure someone na, wait, pag nagka-COVID ka, you're gonna be fine. And then there's the time that COVID took from me. Yes, I was comfortable. Siyempre, nasa bed lang ako, diba? Sitting pretty, but I had so many things to do and I had no choice but to postpone everything. You know, I tried to stay productive, but you can only do so much when you're in quarantine. And quarantine can get really lonely para sa mga taong hindi sanay na mapag-isa. You know, like the extroverts. Ako, I didn't mind at all. I really didn't mind being stuck in a room for 15 days. But some people I heard, medyo like, parang nangangati na talaga sila to go out. My advice, protect yourself however you can. COVID is still out there. Pandemic is still going on. Again, if you can do something online, you know, better to do it online. Medyo na-trauma ako. I just didn't like the fact na nawalan ako ng 2 weeks para bang yung whole January ko may sakit ako, ang dami kong hindi nagawa. So medyo na-trauma ako, parang oh my gosh, please, I don't want to get sick anymore. I understand na a lot of people are working and hindi na sila work from home. Ang advice ko is avoid other risks na lang. Like, okay, so given yan na we have to work, run errands, groceries. So siguro if we can, lessen na lang yung other risks such as malling or, you know, meeting up with friends. These days, we shouldn't get offended if someone doesn't want to meet up with us, if someone doesn't want to do the fist bump with us, if someone doesn't want to touch us, if someone doesn't want to remove yung mask niya, we shouldn't get offended. Kasi syempre, we're all just trying to protect ourselves, right? No one wants to get COVID. Another advice, have a plan in place. Like, think ahead which room you're gonna use for isolation. Make sure na may ready na kayong medication, paper plates, cutlery. Think about, okay, so paano nyo isa-serve yung water? Make sure na yung pantry nyo well-stocked para hindi kayo labas ng labas. Think ahead na, number ng doctor. So it pays to be prepared, especially if you live alone or if everyone gets infected and wala nang runner. Syempre, kung sino yung negative, siya yung runner, di ba? Siya yung taga-bili ng ganito, taga-bili ng ganyan. Also, one more thing, if you do get COVID and nag-home quarantine ka lang, once you start feeling some sort of chest pain or, you're having a hard time breathing, from what I've been told, you should go to a hospital daw. And ang pinaka-important, please get vaccinated. I'm so thankful na vaccinated ako. I also had my booster shot last December. I don't know how my body would have reacted sa COVID if hindi ako vaccinated. So, I am living proof na, you can survive COVID pag vaccinated ka. So that's my COVID story. I'm not ashamed to say I had COVID, and I'm not worried about the mga marites. Marites. I'm not ashamed to say it. I'm just thankful that I survived. That's why I'm sharing this vlog. I hope you learned a thing or two from this vlog. Stay safe, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, do type them in the comment section below. I'll get back to you ASAP. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. And please subscribe to my channel. Malapit na tayo ma-monetize. And I'll see you guys again next week. Bye!